Hello, everybody. What a sad thing that happened yesterday in Nashville, Tennessee. There was a shooting where 6 people were murdered. And I want to talk about Ephesians 6:12 today and the problem that comes down to the wickedness and the spiritual warfare that's out there today and how it tied into what happened yesterday. It says in Ephesians 6:12, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities, against the powers, and against the rulers of darkness of the world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And there's always a spiritual battle taking place and going on. Regardless of what our flesh sees, there's always something going on in the mind. Yesterday, a person walked into a schoolroom and killed 6 people, and my heart goes out to the families of those 6 people that died as the result of murder. And it just so happened to be that they were in a Christian school, and some people in the media might try to spin this against transgender, against Christianity or something like this, but that's not what it was about. And the focus of this video is not to take the importance off that 6 people died, 3 of them being children. But the idea is mental illness as what I believe is a result of spiritual warfare has something to do with this tremendously. It's not about transgender versus Christianity. It's about how we deal with our spiritual warfare and how we handle mental illness and what the scriptures tell us about mental illness and what we're supposed to do. And yes, I'm calling transgender identity people mentally unstable because it is a mental illness to not know what you are. That's what it comes down to. And how is this mental illness dealt with in society today? And this will lead to consequences of appeasing the devil and everything that he wants you to do that's wicked in this world, because we're not handling the mentally ill or unstable the way the Bible would suggest we should handle it, but we're handling it in a way that the devil would suggest we handle it. By supporting mental illness through promotion or acceptance and drug therapy is not the way the Bible says to handle mental illness. And every mass shooter out there is, to some degree or whatever, has a result of mental instability that would lead them to do something. There's never justification for doing something like this, and in no way am I trying to justify that this person was mentally unstable, that it was okay. It's never okay to do something like this. But it's so ironic, the things that people are talking about and people focusing on. So there's 2 things here. There's number one, there's how we're handling the mentally challenged, and number 2, 3 children died in about school shootings. You see, this is hypocritical, to say the least, that millions of innocent babies are killed every single day, but 3 babies are murdered by a mentally crazy person, and that takes precedence in the news out there today. It's just backwards, the world we live in today. And the enemy's trying to get something. The enemy's trying to get something to stir up people to the things that go against what should be. When people are choosing the side of our wonderful Creator, there's love, peace, and joy, and gentleness, and faith, and virtue, and purity, and wisdom, and understanding, and grace, and mercy. But when people are against our Creator, there's hatred, there's violence, and there's shame, there's the so-called pride, right? The pride movement. It's just crazy out there. Think about that. You have hundreds, thousands of children being murdered every single day. And that's controversial. That people say, well, that really doesn't matter because that's not really a life yet, or all this, whatever. But then you have a mentally disturbed person that doesn't even know their own identity, because that's definitely something crazy and mental about that. Going and murdering 3 children, and that becomes big news. But millions of people are dying every single day by cold-blooded murderers that aren't necessarily identify as mentally crazy people. No, I'm not justifying that this shooting was okay, because this woman that shot the people was mentally unstable. The drugging up and supporting the mentally unstable is, I believe, part of the blame of this situation, and not handling the mental situations the way they should be handled according to the scriptures, but also the hypocritical or the audacity, that the ignoring of the millions of innocent children that died yesterday, but focusing on just 3. My heart goes out to the thousands of children that were murdered yesterday, the thousands of children that are murdered every day by cold-blooded murderers, not just a mentally unstable person. Yes, it's such a tragic thing that happens yesterday. And let's not forget those innocent children and innocent people that are being murdered every single day. Yeah, it's just crazy here. Well, and for those of you that suffer from some sort of mental issue here, and that would support the mental institutions that promote there's nothing wrong with being mental and trying to excuse it away, this is the result you get when you go against the words of our Creator. So maybe find out all those people that are going through mental illness, and just find a way to understand whether it's anxiety, depression, bipolar, identification issues. You know, this is all spiritual warfare. Mental illness is spiritual warfare. Mental illness is spiritual warfare. And never an excuse for killing somebody, but let's not forget the cold-blooded murderers that kill innocent children every day. It says in Jeremiah, the heart is more deceitful than all else and is desperately sick. Who can understand it? Well, the Bible says, do not listen to your own mind, but listen to our Creator and follow his perfect will for us. You know, and let your heart turn not to be according to the world's ways, but according to what our Creator, how he wants you to live, and the correct ways to deal with mental illness, and not to deal with it in the world's ways. It says in Proverbs Proverbs 11:4, where there is no guidance, and a person falls, or people fall, but in abundance of counsels of their safety. So we're supposed to be handling mental illness and not promoting it as okay. This is the confusion of today's world. So you have a woman that has a tremendous mental disturbance. Where was the guidance? And this person this woman had went to the school, a Christian school. So you had all this counselors and everything else previously to that school, but this mental attack by the enemy using spiritual warfare has led to this crazy things. So whatever type of mental illness is, it's never good, and it's just two things here. So to remember and keep, you know, we need to handle in a different way the mental unstable. It's not by drugging them up and supporting their mental ideas, also, so to say, or their issues. It's to take it to scripture and take it to a creator and see what creator says. It says in Psalms 118:5, in distress I called to my creator, and he answered and set me free. Prayer. So Yah will, and is the only way to overcome the mental situation out there. Less drugging up and more praying for the mentally unstable. Spiritual warfare is going to take place. And then the other thing is the one of the leading forces of this spiritual warfare today, which is the media out there that's just destroying this. I'm gonna make another thing about this because that's a big topic. But and also I want to say, for those that are coming against the or trying to separate this about gun control, Christians and trans people, it's not about that. It's not about that, folks. You don't put guns in the hands of crazy people and take them away if they're crazy. Where's the background checks on this? They shouldn't just give a gun to somebody and let them go free. They should give a gun and monitor them, maybe every 6 months or every 3 months. Well, how's your emotional state? How's your mental stability? It's not hey, look, if somebody's gotten divorced, went bankrupt, or lost a job that they've been at a long time, consider taking the guns away from them. Let them go for a test, every 3 months or every 6 months. Hey, I know you you illegally obtained an assault rifle. So we just want to do a mental check to make sure you're still okay, because you have accessibility to an assault rifle. You passed the test, you can keep the rifle. Oh, you failed the test because you recently got divorced or bankrupt, and statistics show us that people are divorced or bankrupt have a higher tendency to use violence because they're in a mental situation and a highly emotional state. So we're going to take away the gun for you for a little while. How are you doing? Oh, you don't know if you're a man or a woman. You're mentally incapable of understanding your true biological stance of who you are. Well, we're gonna have to take a gun away until you figure this one out, until you understand, until your mental capability comes back to you. Give us the gun. Don't allow crazy people, to walk around with guns. The problem isn't guns. Again, the problem is the way it's dealt. What? You're taking drugs? You're taking mind-altering drugs that'll mess up the state of your mind and not treat your situation. We're going to have to take away your guns. How did this person illegally have guns, but at the same time, they were on drugs? But, not only should they get a mental test, but they should get a drug test. Take away the guns from the people that are on drugs. What? You have drugs in your system? Got to take away the gun because you're not thinking straight when you're on drugs. What? You're an alcoholic. Well, until you overcome this issue, if you own a gun, you're gonna have to give us the gun. Got to take away the gun. You see, the issue isn't guns. The issue isn't even crazy people. It's how you deal with crazy people. And there are quite obvious signs to what mental crazy is, and now identifying your what you are is one of those. So stop giving guns to people like that. So much to discuss here, so many topics and ideas of this. So I just pray for those families that have to deal with these, and people in general that have to deal with this spiritual warfare. And understand that there's spiritual attacks out there on people, and we must overcome this. We must get down to the root of this and understand where these spiritual attacks are, and what's happening with it, and treat this in a more calmer way. What's your feedback or your opinion on this? What do you think about the things I'm saying here? Put your comments and questions below. And and I'll leave you with this. It says in Isaiah 41, "Fear not, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I'm your Elohim. I will strengthen you and I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand." All right, everybody, stay strong. And if you identify somebody around you or somebody that you know or anyone as having a mental situation in their life, whether it's spiritual warfare, going through some things, use wisdom, and if they have deadly assault rifles, maybe you should call the authorities and let them know that this person is highly medicated and highly dangerous, and maybe shouldn't be legally allowed to have these assault rifles. Have a good day, everybody. Hang in there, stay strong, get into the word. Thank you.